ഹലോ, ഈ ഓഡ് കപ്പിൾ പോഡ്കാസ്റ്റിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യാൻ ഞാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു. താങ്കളുടെ കൂടെ ഇന്ന് മിസ്റ്റർ അർജുനും ഡോക്ടർ ശീഷും ഉണ്ട്.
நான் அர்ஜுன் எப்படி இருக்கேங்க?
நான் நல்லா இருக்கேன், but why the hell are we speaking in Malayalam in Tamil there?
That's okay. We are from a very diverse country called India and we speak more than 120 odd languages is what I heard.
Then je m'appelle Dr. Shish. That's French.
But we're talking about Indian languages, are we? Or
I think the whole highlight right now which is going on is about Indian languages and the Hindi Teriyadada Poda. That kind of went viral and I saw a couple of white people and black people shout out that Hindi Teriyadada Poda and I was like shocked.
okay, what is this white people, black people? Why are you being racist?
I'm not being racist, I'm just saying,
Because there were a couple of memes.
Yeah, the memes. I mean, they were foreigners who were actually talking about a situation which is happening in India,
Oh, okay. Hindi Teriyada Poda basically means I don't speak Hindi, get out.
Get lost.
Get lost, yeah. Okay, so where do you stand? I mean, we grew up in the 70s and 80s. I mean, Arjun is much, much older.
One much is enough.
I'm not sure Arjun can speak about during what happened in this era he can talk about. But in our era that we lived in, we didn't have too much of this. I don't know, it wasn't very visible, this whole anti-Hindi thing until we grew much older and we got into college probably perhaps.
No, I don't think that's true, Sid. I think it's been there for a very long time, but then we just get into these phases of when it is heightened and when it is not heightened. And it's been a constant, I think, ever since our independence or even a little bit pre-independence where, there was that drive. But it's always been a constant. Arjun, what do you feel? How did you feel back in your century that there was a difference?
I actually noticed it around about like early 80s, maybe like when in the second and third standard and up to the fifth standard, there was a really strong anti-Hindi sentiment, not among us 8-year-olds, but there was a lot of protests on the streets. So I remember like a few days, like school was shut or bus routes or the school bus had to take a different route because the anti-Hindi protests were going on one side. And then we had a lot of our Sindhi and Punjabi classmates who were also kind of worried about speaking Hindi or being seen to speak Hindi in public. So yeah, there was flashes here and there.
For me, I think I kind of missed out on all that early 80s part because I was abroad, right? And then by the time we moved here and then started schooling here, I guess for me it has been, I am a Malayali who is brought up in Chennai and now living my life in Bangalore.
I think that goes with all three of us. All of us are Malayalis who were born and brought up in Chennai.
That's true.
But schooling in college in Chennai and now we are in Bangalore.
Correct. So for me, when we talk about languages, for me, there is no real sentiment attached to it because I'm like a global citizen, which I feel because I studied here, studied abroad. And ultimately, at the end of the day, language has always been a form of a mean to connect other people. For me, I studied in an English medium from my basic schooling till the end of my college.
Yes, I mean, Dr. Sheesh, you're a privileged lot who has gone abroad, studied, exposed to a lot of different languages. Let's talk about a farmer in interior Tamil Nadu or Karnataka who speaks only Kannada or Tamil. And for him or her, Hindi is as foreign to them as English is to a Hindi protagonist. From that perspective, expecting them to speak Hindi or learn Hindi is not fair. If it is by choice, fair and good. But to impose a particular language, it doesn't matter if it is Hindi, to impose anything on anybody is what I'm against.
One sec. Can I just know as to why we're talking about Hindi as the majoritarian language which you want to impose? Because the whole of South India is have got their own individual regional dialects, which may be derived from the same thing, just as how Hindi and all our Sanskrit derivations. So my question is, what makes us choose Hindi as that link language or communicating language?
So let me quickly take you back to why Hindi was suggested as a link language back in, I think, 1918 or something like that. The thought was to have Hindustani because all the languages are either derived from the Devanagari script or the Dravidian script, which has some roots in Sanskrit. Now, Hindustani was the whole idea, but then that kind of got diverged. But the bottom line is that they wanted Hindi to be a link language because 44% of India speaks Hindi as their first language and close to 70% of India speaks Hindi as a second language.
Yeah, so we are looking at the whole northern hemisphere who has a direct or indirect link to Hindi.
Absolutely. So the whole cow belt of India have that whole allegiance to Hindi because that's their mother tongue, or they also speak Hindi very well. No, that was a whole argument put forth in the parliament that Hindi is the majority spoken language in India, and hence it should be the chosen national language of India. So Annadurai, who was the CM of Tamil Nadu, said in the parliament that listen, if the same rule of majority was extended to the logic of choosing a national bird, then the crow would be a national bird of India.
Brilliant.
So this is like the most flawed logic, and let's not talk about Hindi being a linked language.
Okay, so I can understand that the majority is that, but our southern languages also have a lot of commonality amongst it. Just like you would say that, those guys who used it as a second language relate to Hindi as a first language. So even the southern languages all have that. My point is that any one of these guys can stand out and say, just as Hindi is important to you guys, it could be important to us, and it's only fair that they have their own language, and we don't need to be imposed to learn another one.
Again, which brings me back to English. If you think about it, we had 400 years of speaking English. So English has been around as long as any modern Indian language. In the sense, the way Hindi is spoken now and the way Tamil is spoken now. We don't speak Sent Tamil and we don't speak Old Hindi or classical versions of any of the current languages. So English does have some equal pedigree as well.
But English is a foreign language. It's not a language of the Hind region, So that is the whole argument that we need our own language. I'll tell you why. There was a general, I forgot his name, maybe McConley or something like that. He's the guy who actually said that in order to bring these people underneath us, we need to make them believe that Her Highness's language is better than, their common language. And then we will be able to them come underneath us, divide them basically. And
when we're talking about English being a foreign language, yes, it is, but it is a link language because the East India Company, as all of us know, ruled pretty much the whole of India, either directly or indirectly through the princely states. And English was spoken widely for the purpose of administration and to basically pillage the resources of India. I mean, that's a well known secret. The issue, which isn't about whether English is a foreign language, of course it is, but I'm more proficient in English, and we are doing a podcast right now in English, itself speaks volumes to the fact that English is no longer a foreign language to India.
So I think, what one is, we've got connecting languages. Now, the whole idea of Hindi coming in is for it to play a link language for us. But we already have English, which the British had given us, and we've been using it for the past 200 years. And even after the independence, which we achieved, for the first 15 years, they agreed that we will use English until we come to terms of what our official language is. Even then, they couldn't come to a consensus, so they said that Hindi would be the official language along with English, and which is pretty much what we have been using.
No, it's not exactly right. Hindi and English are official languages along with 22 regional languages also. So a state like Karnataka, the official language in Karnataka is Kannada and English, not Hindi.
Correct.
Okay, so each state has a right. Now we are focusing only on the southern states. This is the same case in West Bengal. This is the same case in Northeast. It's the same case in Orissa or even Maharashtra. Even though most Maharashtrians speak Hindi very well, people will be proud of their heritage and their language. Languages like Sanskrit and Tamil are known as the two eyes of Hinduism, which is more than 2000 years old.
No, I was making a point, which was that English served as second official language with Hindi. Actually, English was the language which we used during the time when we didn't realize which official language to instate. So when we already have a connecting language like English, why can't we just focus on using English as that connecting medium between our interstates? Till today we use it. We study it from pre-KG.
Absolutely. So when you have a political will to impose Hindi, see, at the end of it, it's a power game. So it is a question of feeling superior is the way I see it, honestly. Otherwise, there's no reason why you should impose a language which is alien to somebody. We've crossed 70 odd years of independence. We are still the Union of India. Why do I need a national language? I do not need a national language. A Tamilian is equally comfortable in Delhi as is a Kashmiri in Chennai. Now, what purpose does a national language serve? Unifying India? I really don't think so.
No, I get it because I think somehow or the other we're getting confused, not us, but the powers that be are using the sentimentality of a national language as opposed to the utility of a national language. Bringing in a sentiment, I don't agree with the whole sentiment behind bringing Hindi as a unifying language. That reeks of sentiment, not utility.
If you actually look, Arjun, just as much as people use religion as an identity, language is so much of a cultural identity for a person. Ultimately, anybody who's going to try and impose something like that, which is on a thing like language, is going to stir a lot of emotions, and we can think about political vote banks in that sense, and maybe that is why it is being thing like what Sidhu said. We probably don't need an official language. We've been working that way for the past 70 or 80 years, and we're absolutely fine. Like, I can't really tell what difference or what advantage a language like Hindi is going to bring into any one of our lives, other than the fact that you want to just say that, okay, you know what, wo videshi bhasha tha, or now I am going to use our desi bhasha. So I mean, it's just to have that point, and I don't think it really is going to make a difference to me.
I was driving the other day intercity between Bangalore and Mysore, and I realized these guys have changed even the milestones from local Kannada to Hindi. So it's only English and Hindi. So it says Mysore 26 kilometers and same thing in Hindi script.
Yeah, that's because it's a national highway.
No, doesn't matter what. National highway in Karnataka.
No, I'm just saying that's why they would have done it.
No, it doesn't make sense.
I agree with you.
How does a Karnataka farmer read that thing and he doesn't know English or Hindi?
Absolutely.
What purpose does it serve? Now, this whole thing is for the people, by the people, and of the people. And when you're ignoring the people itself, then and only focusing on your political motives,
Correct. No, let's not get into the political aspect, but I just want to say that there is a,
there is no other aspect to it.
okay, maybe, but let me just make a point. One of the arguments which arises most of the time is like there are countries like Russia, China, France, Germany, all of them use, or Japan, all of them use their regional language. Do you have something to say for that? So why can't we do that in our country?
In China, you have Mandarin and Cantonese, which is the most widely spoken of the lot. So your north and eastern China speaks Mandarin, whereas southern China speaks Cantonese. Now, if you go towards the western China, that's where your whole Uyghur issues are happening with the Muslims over there and the atrocities that's happening currently. Over there, they're forcing them to learn Mandarin. Now, I have an issue with imposition. And the same thing goes with Russia. Now, Russia is such a vast, it covers about 11 time zones. I was reading about a oblast in Russia known as the Kamenkya Republic, if I'm right. It is actually a Buddhist republic. It's the largest Buddhist republic in Russia and in Europe, actually. I think Stalin forced all the Mongol descent of Serbia to migrate this side. And it was a complete mix. The point is, imposition of anything is not right, is what I'm trying to say. It serves no purpose.
I just want to go back to that. I feel that there's a significant difference also in the fact of countries like China and Russia and France and all these countries. The fact is that they're not like different geographic regions like how we have, where we have so many dialects. We have around 780 languages in this country. They may have dialects. We have different languages on their own, not just a substream from that.
No, correct. Different scripts.
Yeah. So how do you appease so many, like, all these states together. How do you appease all of these people? You can't just group it all up together and then say that, okay, you know what, we'll just choose Hindi over thing. Like with just the classic example which you just gave, which is a farmer over here in Mysore is not going to be able to read Hindi and English, and he's going to understand Kannada. And so basically what we require is a connecting language, which is a global language which we have been speaking for so long, which is English, and your regional language. So wherever you are, so if you're in Kerala, you should be doing Malayalam, and if you're in Tamil Nadu, you should be doing Tamil, and if you're in Karnataka, Kannada.
Absolutely. Just think about it. Out of the 6.5 crore people in Karnataka, I think the last census said only 1.5 crore people speak an another language apart from Kannada. So you're alienating 80 odd percent of a state for the benefit of somebody who's not even from the state,
Yeah.
which is absurd. It's bizarre. So, is learning a language helpful? Definitely yes. Quite happy that I learned Hindi in school and failed innumerous times. But thing is, it is the advantage of learning a language, but it has to be voluntary. There's a huge difference when things are imposed on
No,
us.
they say earlier on, the more languages you speak, the better cognitive sense you have.
I completely agree. Arjun, how many languages do you speak?
I speak Tamil, Hindi, Malayalam, English. That's 4.
Four. Ashish? Dr. Sheesh?
Malayalam, Tamil, a bit of Kannada, English, Hindi, Russian, and a bit of Malay. So 7 languages.
Seven. Wow, nice. So we have polyglots in the house. Oh, you forgot French.
My French is only to score marks.
Yeah, I speak Malayalam, Tamil, English, Hindi, yeah, French for scoring marks. Last 60 days I've been learning Spanish. Yeah, that's six, and yeah, a smattering of Kannada and Telugu. So
The importance and the difference I find is not just speaking these languages, but the fact that we are culturally familiar with these languages. We know the music, we know the movies, we know the culture. We're culturally sound in each of these languages. We're not translating and speaking like we've learnt it from rote. We know our Malayalam movies, you know our Tamil movies, you know your Hindi movies.
absolutely, we enjoy a Yeshudas as much as we enjoy a SPB to a Gulzar also. I mean, that's the beauty of India.
No, but that's the thing which you said, which is, it's beautiful how we are in a country which has so much of culture. Each region, like what you just said, the Tamil language itself, let's take the Tamil language. It's considered the oldest spoken language in the world. The literature is so vast and so deep. And the fear is, what, among these people is it shouldn't become like that, the Mayan or the Aztec language. When the Spanish
Conquistadors.
thank you, came in and attacked, right? And they brought in Spanish language. The medium of economics was in Spanish. So people had to start using Spanish to survive and to make money. So much so that down the line that people slowly forgot the Mayan languages and it becomes a dead language. The same thing is the fear of these people who are here in each regional sector, which is they're going to lose their language. Now let's take English for that matter of fact. Why is it so popular over here? Why is there such a demand? I'll tell you why. Because every Indian aspires to go abroad. They brought up their children saying, as soon as you do your thing, you go abroad, you work abroad, you make money. And English was a link language globally. And that gave us a sound advantage compared to most of the other countries, and that is why we also did really well.
No, that's true. With our working diaspora, the entire youth has been brought up to learn English because that is the way you will go abroad and make your money. English medium, English janna, English arenam, English paranam. It was always seen as your gateway to success.
Yeah. Now, if you take a person who speaks English has a 36% advantage compared to a person who doesn't speak English to get a corporate job.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's the fact which I heard on NDTV.
I would be surprised if it is so low on percentage actually.
Yeah, actually, that's true. For a corporate job, I'd be surprised that 36% is very low.
You say it should be higher?
I think it is higher. Not it should. I don't think it should be. I think it is.
No, it'll be significantly higher, definitely. But the whole factor over here is what's the purpose of a language? It is to communicate. Let's say something like our postal service, which is India Post. Before, I still remember my grandmom, great grandmom, living in a small village called Mullurkara in Kerala, sending letters to my mom in Madras and writing the address and everything in Malayalam. And it will reach Madras. Try doing that today.
It didn't get returned then?
No, because Malayalam is a official language. Now your address has to be either in English or Hindi.
Excellent point. I also remember that. In fact, you could write across state in any language and the letters would reach in those days.
I'm going to try this out.
I have to fact check this. This is something which I read.
No, I'm just saying when we have so many languages, having to like one subsidiary to sit down and know this many languages, and to just the postal service, imagine the amount of overhead work they have to do just because they have to cater to each language. And so wouldn't it just be easier to have one language which is like a common language? Like,
Exactly. See, it's not about ease of doing business. It's about how easy are you making it for the citizen. You're collecting tax. Use it properly.
now if our taxes were used properly, then we wouldn't, nobody would have a conversation in India. It would be utopian.
But I'm saying there's no dearth of money.
I agree with Sid on that aspect. It is up to the government to make it easier for people who speak their language to get by in this country rather than enforce a common language. It shouldn't be easier for the government. The government should make it easier for me speaking my language to get ahead or to communicate or to write official documents and send official paperwork in the language that I know.
See, just for a quick snapshot for the viewers, a country like India, where the dialect changes every 50 kilometers, we have about 120 odd languages, which are mother tongues, as we call it. We have about 730 languages, which are secondary languages. We have more than 6,000 odd dialects in this country, and we are about 1.38 billion people. So it's a very complex problem. But India's constitution also says unity in diversity. It guarantees us freedom of speech and following the languages that we choose, and which is enshrined in our constitution, which is the 22 regional language with Hindi and English. I do not understand why this whole, yes, it is politics, it is vote bank politics, just like your reservation, casteism, other things. This is just another form of it. But I think it's the most absolutely pointless exercise of trying to impose anything on it.
I have to agree with you.
I think the common man gets by pretty well in India because for someone who knows his language and only speaks their language without any exposure to anything else, tends to remain in their geographical area, like the farmer in his area. If anyone feels the need to move out and expand his area of business or workplace, he tends to absorb the other language and so on and so forth. We tend to absorb other languages as we move closer to multilingual places like cities and urban areas.
100%. Look at all the Biharis and Bengalis who have come all the way down south to Kerala and learned Malayalam voluntarily so that they can work in Kerala. But it's fascinating. I see these guys, these hardworking guys, coming and taking and doing all the hard jobs in Kerala.
And speaking fluent Malayalam.
Yeah, and fluent
No,
Malayalam.
it is advantageous always to know the local language because you can converse much better when you know the local language, right? So, like for me, being a doctor, when I have my patients who come inside, obviously for them, their language, their native language is what they're most comfortable with. And it's tough on me that I'm from a different state, but I've had to learn the language and I'm forcing myself to learn the language because that's the way I get to connect with my patients. When I speak to them in English, it's very difficult for them to understand the intricacies of what I'm trying to tell them. And a lot can be lost in translation. Definitely for me, especially, language plays a very important role when I'm trying to, in my work scenario. And hence that is why I feel that people should focus on their regional language as much as we're looking for a link language. Now, probably Hindi or English or whatever. But like Sid said, for me, it's been working for some time. Been using Hindi as well as English as well as our regional languages, and it's been working. So why go tinker with that now? No?
Coming back to this entire thing that triggered this topic was this whole Hindi Terya de Poda, which means I don't know Hindi, get lost. I think we all agree we're anti-imposition, but the sentiment of anti-Hindi is as wrong as the imposition of Hindi itself. Let's just chill out because we've all been carrying on multilingually so well, loving music and movies from all across the country. Culturally and socially, I don't think Indians have a problem with that. apart from the people who are trying to stir shit up.
Absolutely. And that's what this podcast is all about, having conversations, understanding and listening to different points of view and coming to a consensus. If not a consensus, at least go away with a better understanding of the different angles or complicated viewpoints that might be there. Thank you so much for tuning into us. Do follow our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter channels, which are there in the show notes. Until the next time, this is Siddharth.
This is Arjun.
And this is Dr. Sheesh. Goodbye.